Okay, One Piece episode 1000, we're at 22. It's not out. But typically, per usual, we're on break unexpectedly, and I feel like we just went on break, but we're on break. So of course we have a prediction video. If you guys can tell, these are some of my favorite videos to make because we can just go wild. We can say anything because in One Piece, literally anything is possible. So in this instance, man, it's so much that I was thinking about, especially after the last chapter with Momonosuke and then Robin. That was so amazing, right? Robin is so fantastic. But after that chapter, I'm like, okay, I feel weird, right? I feel weird. And I'll explain to you guys why. But in the meantime, right, while you're trying to process that, subscribe to the channel, right? Maybe here for the first time, may not even watch the video before, I don't care. Subscribe to the channel, drop a like as well. And let's talk about One Piece chapter 1022 and what we expect to happen because, okay, all right, let me just start here. Jinbei versus Who's Who, Robin versus Black Maria, Brook versus the Father, Frankie versus Sasaki. It seems like these fights are done, but in a way they don't feel final. It doesn't feel like Frankie, Jinbei, and Robin, like they're at their wits' end, like they've done everything they needed to do. Like it feels like they're still fairly fresh. Like I understand Frankie, he had to do everything. Jinbei, that didn't seem like it was too difficult. Even for Robin, Brook is pretty much still fresh. So with all that being said, I know there's a lot of people still left. So with the Straw Hats defeating their assignment, there's a lot they still could do to mow down the numbers and make things a bit more manageable for everyone else. Because that is something that CP0 talked about, where you can't just defeat the officers, you have to take down everyone because the numbers game is definitely not in your favor. So if the Tobi Roppo are done, the Straw Hats, then they have to kind of join the battle in different ways, support other people, because they don't seem spent like they normally would in a war like this, if that makes sense. But then that leads me to my next point. If these Tobi Roppo are done, Who's Who, Sasaki, Black Maria. Ulti, she went out via Nami and Big Mom. Page One, he went out via Big Mom. I think Page One will be back personally because he always comes back. Like it's Page One. Quickly though, I forgot the person's name, but it had me genuinely laughing out loud because they said that I should do a video about whether or not Page One is working for Big News. Yeah, I'm gonna just think about it for a second. I thought about it for a second, then I just like, all right, bro, whatever. But yeah, so I think Page One comes back. Not sure what he does, but I think it'd be a great moment for Usopp. But again, with all the Tobi Roppo being done, the only Tobi Roppo that's left is X Drake. Do we see a conclusion of X Drake's story, or what the conclusion is for that? Because we know he's a Marine, so it's obvious that Oda's gonna leave him out, single him out. So narratively, does it make sense to go to X Drake to see what he's doing because he's been missing for a while? Is he still fighting Apu? Like what's going on with X Drake? But the Tobi Roppo, if they're actually done, I don't know, man, this is kind of underwhelming. They had so much hype, even in the anime recently, how they've been walking in. I think Sasaki said the reason why Kaido is so feared, or the Beast Pirates are so feared, is because of the Tobi Roppo. And now in hindsight, I'm like, Sasaki, what the hell were you talking about? Like, you think the Tobi Roppo, that's... Anyway, so I hope they're not done. I hope there's more to the Tobi Roppo than just, you know, showcasing the new abilities of the Straw Hats, which is cool. I loved it. Like, you guys don't have to question how much I loved Nico Robin Demonio Fleur. But, wow, that is it. I don't want to talk about timing and pacing where Oda's just kind of like checking boxes and then the anime is going to expound. Because, you know, that's lazy, I think, and we talk about that all the time. But it feels that way, right? It feels like, okay, Black Maria, Sasuke, Who's Who. All right, we're going to leave X Drake out for now, right? Not saying that it's bad because, I mean, I've been enjoying these string of chapters, but is that it for the Tobi Roppo? I mean, it just doesn't feel final, if that makes sense. So I'm going to assume the Tobi Roppo is out of the way. Who's left? We have obviously Luffy, Zoro, Sanji. Then we have the Minks, Inuyasha, and Nekomamushi. Then we have what's going on with Momonosuke, obviously, and then Yamato. So I think what's going on with Nekomamushi and Inuyasha, that gets resolved before what's going on with Queen and even Zoro, and obviously Luffy. Whatever Luffy's doing, that's going to be the end. That's going to be the final thing that happens. Now, what I'm intrigued about is Luffy doing this and people seeing, because that's something that always has to happen. People need proof. Kaido even talked about that, saying, I should have taken your head, so that people can really stop believing in you. So I think Kaido's words aren't, well, we can say foreshadow, but I think the words are talking about what's going to happen to him. For the people to stop believing in this monstrosity of Kaido luring or hovering over Wano, they have to see his demise. So the capital gets saved by Momonosuke. Then Luffy defeats Kaido, and I think Kaido lands right in the capital. Like the same way when Kaido struck Luffy and Luffy went flying, I think the same thing has to happen in the capital, in the middle of this celebration, and then they will see, and then they will believe that the tide is turning for Wano. But logically, what's next? X Drake. We may get some X Drake focus because he's the only Tobi Roppo left. See what's going on with him because we haven't seen him in a while. I think X Drake could be a very interesting link to outside sources. Meaning X-Drake could be the link to other people coming to Wano. Like, I've always speculated that Smoker at some point comes to Wano, because we haven't seen Smoker in a while. I mean, Wano is about to be done, I don't know. But we need some more exposition on what he's going to do. What is going to be the outcome of his decisions? So I think it's really cool that Apu and X-Drake, they've been interacting with each other and fighting each other, because those two technically are officers of Kaido. And then technically going up the totem pole, Apu was beneath the Tobi Roppo, but he was a fairly new recruit, I guess. And then that goes back to someone like Hawkins. He has probably the most intriguing and unpredictable path. And let me clarify, because I know Hawkins is going to at some point help the Alliance. He has that trump card, for the most part, that was mentioned at the beginning of Wano that can boost your abilities. So he's going to help them at some point, but I have no idea when. There were so many moments before where I felt like Hawkins could have just switched. He could have flipped so many different times, but he hasn't. So at what point does Hawkins say, you know what, the odds are not in Kaido's favor anymore? Is it when the numbers start to dwindle even more? Is that what he's waiting for? Because you know there's something else with Hawkins. The 1% man. That's something that he mentioned. So I'm like, okay, is the 1% man Luffy? Because it would be weird, or would it? If Luffy goes through all this, eating all this meat, getting back and fighting Kaido, then gets decimated again, then he goes back down to 1%. But then it goes in line with what Hawkins said about Luffy back in Sabaody, saying that his chance of survival never goes to 0. So it going to 1% does follow that up really well. But Luffy's the obvious choice, so it could be somebody else. So I think based on the progression of things, Oda slowly taking out members of Kaido's alliance, like the important members, it makes sense. So like, you know, with Pooh, Hawkins, those two could get taken out. X-Drake, something could come of his storyline. But then we get to the All-Stars. First off, Jack. Jack is fighting Inuyarashi. I expect him to win. Inuyarashi is hurt. Jack is somewhat hurt, but he's an ancient zone. He's built different, literally. So he probably wins. But then with Nekomamushi, he's fighting Perospero, and he's upset because of Pedro, so I think he beats Perospero. I wonder if it could be a situation where he beats Perospero, then goes back and he helps Inuyarashi, and then they take him down together. Justifiably so, because that's how it should have gone in the first place, but they were switching because they weren't liking each other because of Odin and all that different stuff. But I think Jack has to be resolved before we get to Queen and King, because that's just a natural progression of things, right? There are small caveats, small pockets of things going on that Oda could definitely shift to. One thing that I'm really intrigued by is Caribou. One thing, one person, one character, I guess. Caribou has the keys. He has all the cards. He just doesn't know how to play them. Right? So he knows everything about Shirahoshi. He knows the Joy Boy stuff. Kaido's right there. He knows about Joy Boy. You have the cards. He just doesn't know how to play the game. So I'm not sure if he's going to be just perpetually stuck the entire time, or he's going to do something of substance, because that's something we've speculated for so long. Caribou having that information, listening in to King Neptune and Robin discuss very important things. Does anything come of it, or does it remain like a gag? Yamato versus Kaido. Now, the entire point of that is to hold off until Luffy's ready. Luffy isn't ready yet. Momonosuke, Luffy, Yamato, all that is a part of the process. So Momonosuke is going to transport Luffy to Onigashima. By the time Luffy gets there, Yamato is probably at her wit's end. So everything has to transition smoothly, where Momonosuke, more than likely he gets aged up to an adult, takes Luffy, he gets there, all of a sudden Yamato is defeated, right? At the perfect time. What does Momonosuke do after that? I think he probably fights Orochi. I mean, Orochi's not dead. People are saying, isn't Orochi? No, Orochi's not dead. He doesn't die like that. Like, the thing doesn't die, okay? And personally, I don't think he does. I think it's, you know, too much importance on the history and the future of Wano to, again, kill another Kurozumi because of revenge. That was the entire reason why this started. Revenge and jealousy, right? So hopefully that cycle ends with Momonosuke. But I guess to wrap it all up, I think Oda's going to continue the progression. So taking out the small guys, giving us updates of what's going on around the war, but nothing significant is going to happen to Queen or King. I think it may start with Jack, right? Start there, but we need updates. Something that I've been talking about for a while, bro. Marco and King. Like, we need something with Marco and King, bro. Like, it's been so long. Oda has shown us pockets of Marco, but we haven't seen King in a while. Was King defeated? I mean, there's no way. I mean, my theory was that King defeats Marco and then King fights Zoro, but everyone's been saying that. But it's Oda doing his typical thing, holding off the things that we really want to see. Sanji versus Queen, like, we are seeing some of that, but it hasn't progressed. Because again, Jack has to be taken out. I think Hawkins, and remember, Hawkins is fighting Killer right now. So we have to see what's going on there. And then we can't forget about Law and Kid versus Big Mom. That's also happening. So, I mean, it honestly could go anywhere, but I think Oda's going to give us updates, right? Because now another fight is done. Updates. We need updates. Then probably some Jack stuff, because I think Jack may be the next major antagonist, like, member to go down. Then you kind of go with Queen and King. The Yamato Kaido stuff is mixed in there. Big Mom, Kid, and Law, I have no idea, because I don't know what Oda's gonna do with Big Mom. Can they keep her occupied the entire time, or do we see Roof Piece Part 2, where Big Mom sees Kaido fighting Luffy, then she flies off, then Law and Kid, they go with her, and then all of a sudden it's Law, Kid, Luffy versus Big Mom and Kaido again. Then maybe Zoro gets involved at some point, but then that would mean he defeats King, but there's nobody else to fight King. So it's so much, bro, but I'm so excited. Like, I can't wait for the next chapter. Oh man. But guys, give me thoughts. What do you expect to happen in One Piece chapter 1022? That's crazy. We were just at chapter 1000. I feel like it was just the beginning of the year talking about just how amazing chapter 1000 was. Now we're at chapter 1022. Can't believe that the year is almost done, bro. We're past the halfway point, and I'm still trying to recover from 2020. What the? Anyway, guys, give me thoughts. Make sure to like the video if you did. Subscribe to the channel for more content like this. Follow me on Twitter at BragoDAce. Follow me on Instagram at BragoD.Ace. Thank you to my patrons. I appreciate you guys so much. Guys, again, thank you. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.
I start doubting me, I felt lost. I rewrite it.